Boom, we did that. Okay, and let's see here. So we've got that going on. And by the way, thanks to those who have signed up for my classes. I appreciate that. Sign up to my my YouTube channel. It's actually growing. It's kind of nice. And this keeps on going on. I'll be able to monetize it before too long. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so we're in here right now. That's my meetings. That's what we're doing right now. I'm going to go out to here. And when you go out to Blackboard, we are now on week 8. We are on week 8. And I did get a question earlier, and the question was this. There is actually a quiz out here that I think is, where is it on site? It might be one. And it was called Cad Quiz One. Let me go find that. AutoCAD intro quiz. And I think there's also one called Cad Quiz One. Stacy was asking about it actually. Let me make sure I get the right one here. Cad Quiz One. Okay, so we got the, let's see, AutoCAD intro assignments week 2. Yeah, here it is, Cad Quiz One. Cad Quiz One is located here. So let's go there. We'll go through this together. It's on the AutoCAD Intro Assignments Week 2, which is right here. AutoCAD Intro Assignments Week 2. And you'll notice as you scroll down, you will find this if you're following along. And we're going to do Cad Quiz One. So I'll go ahead and go through this, and I'll give you the answers to this right now. So when you're working on this, you want to just write these answers down because this is meant to be more of a review than actually a test. So I'm going to go to begin. Okay, now here we go. Which is not true about polylines? All right, polylines have an erase option, polylines have a width option, polylines have an arc option, polylines have an undo option. Does anyone have a guess?
Is it the arc option?
They do have an arc option, actually, they do.
Undo?
They have an undo option too. I see we haven't gone too deeply into this. And they do have a width, okay? So actually, they don't have an erase option. It's actually not part of the command. So polylines do not have an erase option. Question 2, how do you fit the entire drawing in the drawing window? Double click on the right mouse button, hold Control and scroll the mouse wheel, double click the mouse wheel, or hold the mouse wheel and move the cursor.
Double click the mouse wheel.
Yep, we went over that for sure. Okay, question 3. How do you cancel a command using the keyboard? Press F2, press Escape, press Control, or press Delete?
Escape.
Escape, you got that right, okay. All right, question 4. What is the difference between a window and a crossing selection? Okay, just to give you a clue, the windows are blue, crossings are green. Okay, so window selects everything inside and crossing selects everything touching the selection box. The second choice is window selects everything inside or touching the selection box, and crossing selects everything inside the selection box. The third choice is window selects everything inside and crossing selects everything inside or touching the selection box. And the fourth choice, window selects everything touching the selection box and crossing selects everything inside the selection box. It's a lot of words. Anyone have a guess? Okay, it's actually the third choice here. The window selects everything inside and the crossing selects everything inside or touching the selection box. So we have that. Question 5, how do you move an existing object to a different layer? And this is where I've got this, recreate the object on the correct layer, use the move command, change the current layer, select the object and press enter, or select the object and pick the required layer in the layer control.
Last one.
Last one. Question 6, a series of continuous line and or arc segments that act as a unified object is a rectangle, construction line, polyline, or a block?
Polyline?
It's a polyline. You got that right. Question 7, what types of objects does the center object snap work with? Circles and lines, circles, lines, and rectangles, circles, arcs, and lines, or circles and arcs?
C.
Actually, it's circles and lines, circles and arcs, rather, right here, circles and arcs, because center object snap is going to look for the center of either a circle or an arc. Question 8, which tool enables you to position an object at the exact center of a rectangle that was created using the rectangle command? And the choices are center object, geometric center, midpoint, an intersection. We didn't go over this. I'll just tell you, it's the geometric center. Geometric center is a cool command that allows you to actually pick the center of any strangely shaped object. It'll find the centroid. Question 9, how can you deselect a selected object? We didn't go over this either. You hold down the shift key and pick the object, that'll deselect it. Hold the shift key down and deselect and click it, that'll deselect it. And then what happens to objects when you select them before starting any command? And your choices are: they highlight in black with a thicker line weight, they highlight in blue with a thicker line weight and contain red squares, they highlight in blue with a thicker line weight and contain blue squares, they stay the same. It's actually this one. They highlight in blue with a thicker line weight and contain blue squares. So that's the answer 10. So I'm going to click on save and submit. And I'm going to click on OK. And I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And that is 10 out of 10. Okay, so we have that right here. Okay, so we have that. And so that is the CAD quiz. And that is actually committed to video. So you can just go over that again. To go over that. So go ahead at your leisure, go ahead and go through that and do CAD quiz 1. You got the answers now and work through that. That'll work out well. Okay, so moving back over to here, we had been working on, last week we did the wall section. And this week we're going to work on a site plan. Okay, so the site plan is over here, site plan master, which is right here. So I got site plan master. Okay. And so what I did right here, I've actually got the site work tutorial video, which is actually very good. And I got it here and I got it here. So that's available right there. I'm also going to be giving you tonight's video. So we'll have that available. So what we got here is you've got, this is where you would upload it. There's a site plan tutorial handout. Now, I don't think we're going to need that right now because at this point, everything is on the final plan. So I don't think we're even going to need that right now. But you've got the template. You definitely want to download the template. And then right here, you have the finished project, okay, which looks like this here, which is what you want. So I'm going to download this, and I'll be bopping back and forth with this one right here. So I'll save that. And what I'm going to do is I'll open that up, and it looks like this. Now, this is what we're going to be drawing. Now, this is a different animal. It's actually a little bit of a different representation as far as what we've been doing. And so as far as that goes, we're going to the construction method, as well as a lot of other things are different about this. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to begin to work on this. Now, this is a site plan. Now, part of this, the reason that we go over this is because this particular course is actually part of the CAD, rather the Civil Technologies course. Okay, so CAD for Construction is one of the classes in the Civil Technologies degree program. And so therefore, this actually, we wanted to go over something that kind of went over how you do this with AutoCAD. So I'm going to go over the basics right here. We've already learned the basics of AutoCAD. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go through this. And as we go through this right now, what we're going to do is we are going to work on this, and we're going to draw this right now. And it shouldn't take that long, really. It's not that difficult. It's just a question of understanding what's going on here, because there's some weird stuff going on here. There's some weird stuff with it. And what I mean by this is the notations, okay? If I have these notations that I got here are kind of strange. You see this right here, N17D, 30 feet, 9 inches west. Well, what in the world does that mean? Who wants to tell me what that's all about? I think some of you know. Have any of you guys taken surveying yet?
Isn't that a coordinate?
Well, they're actually, yep, they're actually what they are. Those are actually what we would actually call bearings, and their measurements, essentially. They are actually the measurements that we use when we're working with a site plan, okay? So they look different. Now, what this means right here is, you see this right here, it says N, that means north. And so it says north, 17 degrees, okay? And then 30 minutes and 9 seconds west. Okay, those are all based upon the 360 degrees of the compass. Okay, so when you are putting together a land map or a boundary, some kind of boundary for maybe someone's property, a property line, a lot, or putting something together that's like maybe for a park or something else, and you want to make sure you have it defined, this is how you do it. You'd have a point of origin. Right now, the point of origin can be a landmark or something else. Now, let me tell you this right now. When you're working with with AutoCAD and you're doing site planning type thing, it operates like this. Typically, you're going to have some kind of point of origin. The point of origin is going to be something that is a landmark, and it could be something like what's called a set capped iron rod. That is actually what they used in Michigan. They also use them here. And essentially what that is in the in various places in a neighborhood, in a community, they will actually take and hammer into the ground an iron rod. No, they'll hammer it into the ground at the exact coordinate. They'll actually get a transit scope out and get it exactly what's supposed to be. They'll put it in, and then that's permanent, okay? As permanent as something like that can be. And it'll be in there, and from there, that is where a subdivision could be measured from, or the parking lot for a new store, or for actual the footprint of a store, all those, whatever it might be, or for roads, actually for putting in roads. This is where you'd actually use this. Very important to be accurate, very important to be close. That's why you see these right here, where it talks about going down to the minutes and seconds. That is very, very precise as far as where you are measuring to. And these distances are in feet right here. So what we see right here is there's actually there's a house plan on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw this shape right here. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. So as we get into this right now, there's a little bit of a trick, and it's not a huge trick, but it's something that you guys can all figure out. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this. So the first thing I've got right here is this N17D, 30 feet, 30 minutes, 9 inches. By the way, in this reading, it's N17 degrees. So it's north 17 degrees, 30 minutes and 9 inches west. So that's telling me it's a northwest direction, and tells me what that actually is from there. So in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and start by going out to here. And I'm going to, I actually started this over here. So I've got this going. So I've got that. That's what it's going to look like when I'm done. But I'm going to start a new one. So to start the new one, I go to new. And then I'm going to go out and find the download, which is Site Master Plan right here. So go ahead and open Site Master Plan here. When I open it up, I now am on the C property level layer right there. So the first thing I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to start at this lower left corner. Okay, and this lower left corner looks like this right here. Now, to be clear about what that is right here, I want to make sure that you guys can see that. Okay, it's right here. All right, what I've got right here is this says, it gives it to me in this 917D 30, 30 feet, 30 minutes, 9 inches west. I'm going to go ahead, and if I can do that, can I do that? I don't know if that's going to work or not. So I've got that right there, and it's 48.92 feet. So I'll go ahead and start this, and I'll go ahead and start here. So I'm going to go here, and I'll start with my line command, and I'll start down here, and I'll go ahead, and I've got this actually here. So I'll type in the value. So what I have to do for this one to get this to work correctly is I have to type in the @ symbol. The @ symbol is necessary for this one because of the way we're going to be drawing it. So I type in the @ symbol, and then I type in 48.92 feet. Okay, and then less than. I put in the less than. The less than allows me to put in an angle, and the angle is going to be. Let me see if I can put that in there. Control V. No, it didn't take it, did it? No, it didn't. Okay, so forget that. We'll try it again. Just had to type it in. So I go here, and it's going to be 48.92. Oh, I got to put the @ symbol. Sorry, one more time. Line. We'll start here, and we'll go over here, and we'll go ahead and type in at 48.92 feet less than, and then I've got this to type in. N 17D 30 minutes 9 seconds west, like that. All right, so that's okay. All right, people in here. Okay, hi Louie. Just people are just coming in right now. All right, hello Louie. You can hear me. All right, so I've got this right here. So once I do that, I press my enter key, then it draws that first line segment. So that's how you want to do this. Now this can be a little bit demanding, but you guys can do it. Now the next one is actually over here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out there. And the next one is actually up here, and this one is 61.85 feet north, 2 degrees, 30 minutes, 57 seconds east. Okay, hello there, Louis. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
Not a problem. Welcome. Good to have you here. So that's going to be the next one. And so as I go here, I'm going to type in 61, when's the at symbol, 61.85 feet, less than N2 D 30 minutes, 57 seconds east, 57 seconds east like that. And I think that's right, N2D, 30 minutes, 57 seconds east. I press my enter key, boom. And you see it's looking like my, it's actually looking correct. So as I go through here, I can go ahead and go there and you can see that, okay, that looks pretty good. It's almost straight up, but it's not. The next one's going to be 86.19 feet. And I have this north 85 degrees, 36 feet, 36 minutes, 24 seconds west. So we'll do that. So now I'm going to go here. So I'll type in 68 at 86.19 feet, 86.19 feet, less than N85 and 85 D, 36 minutes, 24 seconds west. Hit my enter key. Okay, didn't like some about that. North, what's okay? 86 feet less than. Okay, I'll go here. Try this. Okay, go less than. Okay, let's see if I've got that. Looks like N 80. Okay, let me try that again. So we'll try repeat line, and I'll go ahead and click here, and I'm going to type in at 86.19 feet less than N85D, N85D, and then it's going to be 36 feet, 36 minutes, 24. I always think of it as feet, but it's 36 feet, 24 inches. But in this parlance, it's 36 minutes, 24 seconds. So 36 minutes, 24 seconds, and type in the W, press enter. Okay, likes that. Okay, so we're good to go. So it's coming together quite nicely. And the next one is going to be this one, which is coming down here, which is going to be 96.09 feet. And that's going to be south, 8 degrees, 22 minutes, and 5 seconds east. So I'll go ahead and put that in. So down here, so at 96.09 feet, less than, south 8 degrees, south 8 degrees, 22 minutes, 5 seconds east. I press my enter key, boom, does that. And this is something you actually will be doing in real life, okay? Because this is actually something that you will be working with as you're doing anything with civil. Now down here, it's 65.04 feet, south 67 degrees, 22 minutes, 56 seconds to the east. So we'll do that. So this one, okay, at 65.04 feet, less than, south 67 degrees, 22 minutes, 56 seconds east, and I'll press my enter key, boom, and it didn't like that. So I must not have hit that correctly. So let's try that again, the line. So go at 65.04 feet, less than S67D, 22 feet, 56 seconds east. Press my enter key, boom, there it is. Okay, and I'm going to end it right there. Now that is correct. That is the correct footprint. And so now what I want to do is I've got this last thing here, and this says it's a radius of 40. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an arc to actually fulfill that. There's more than one ways to do it, but I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to use arc, and I'm going to use start, end, radius. Start, end, radius. So I'm going to start right here. Start is there, endpoint is here, and I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to type in a radius of 40 feet and press enter. Boom, and there it is. Okay. So that is what that looks like right there. That is the footprint, and that looks pretty darn good. And I'm going to go ahead and hover my cursor right over here. We got that, and it shows me what those different dimensions are right there. And that is what we have right there. So you have that. Okay, so now that I've got this in place right here, I'm going to save it. Save it as you always want to save your work so you don't lose anything. And this we're going to call site plan. I'm going to say 2 because I did another one earlier. Okay, so now I got that. That's the basics right there. So that right there is probably the toughest part, is just typing that. I know that's just how it's done. When you're working with anything in site civil type of units, that's how you're going to be doing it. Okay, so you're putting in the different directions, and you're putting in degrees, minutes, and seconds. So you do that. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is I want to place the text, okay, right here. Like for instance, this right here says, I want to place this text in here that says this right here. So how do I do?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah.
So how did you change those dimensions again? I want to know how you did that. Like, for example, the 48.92 and the add 17. How did you do that?
Well, I just typed it in. You mean actually how I got this notation right here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, to put that in, there's actually a trick that I use. So I'm going to go here, and since I already typed in all those values, this right here is not going to give me that the way I want it to. So if I go here, because this is set up to do something different. So I got linear right here, but it's not really a dimension. It's actually just a notation on the side right there. So if I were to go here, I'd pull it off, and it gives me that right there. If I were to use aligned, I could go ahead and go from here to here, and it will tell me right here. There it is right there. It's 48 feet, 11.04 inches, which is there, that's not in, that's actually not in the proper units, but we're not really putting dimensions on this one right now. We're actually using notation. Okay, so to do this, let me show you how we do this. Now, first of all, I'm going to change my layer over here to C prop text, and you're going to notice that over here, I've got some text over here. I got some text right over there. Now, how did I get that? Well, do I have to type it all over again? Well, actually, there's a little trick here, because since I typed all that information in here, I can just press F2 and it gives me this right here. When you press F2, it brings up this text box. And I'm going to go to the very first dimension that I put in here, which is going to be right here. It's the 48.92 right there. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy it. So I just use Control C to copy it. You could also just right click and choose copy. All right. So once you've got that, I'm going to then do this. I'm going to create. So that's on the clipboard right now. So now I'm going to go to Multiline Text. I'm going to put in some text. So I'll click here and pull it down. And I'm going to Control V, and there it is right there. So I've got the text in there. So I didn't have to type it all over again. And in this particular case, the 48.92 feet is actually underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and do a Control X and place it at the back here, and I'll put it on the next row like that. Now at this point, the D needs to be not capitalized, so I'll just change that to D. And other than that is correct, I'll get rid of the less than sign because we don't need that either. And then I'm going to take this whole schmear and I'm going to justify it like this with center justification. So I've got that, and now we're good to go. So now I've got the proper notation there. I'll click on it. It's right there. Now let me show you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to move it. So I start the move command. I'll click on this, and I'll go ahead and take it and drag it over down here. And I'll place it right around like that, right at the midpoint. And then what I want to do is I want to rotate it. So to rotate it, I'm going to show you a little trick here. I'm going to go to rotate, click on this. I'll go ahead and pick the midpoint of that right there. And then I'm going to pull it down this way. Now, as I'm pulling it, I want to align it. So I'm going to touch this, this right here, and then I'll pull it down, and it picks it up as a tracking point when I touch on there. It's a little cheat you can do in AutoCAD. So go ahead and do that. I'll click and drop it there. And now at that point, it's a little bit not quite where I want it to be. So I'm going to use my control key and hold my control key down. I'm going to nudge it. Nudge it into position just like I did there. And that's using the control, holding the control key down and then using your arrow keys. So I can do this, arrow keys, I'm just going ahead and nudging it like that. So I'm able to do that. And so now that's in position. So that is how I'd go ahead and put in all of that text around the perimeter. So the next one, I'll go ahead and do one more. And over here, the next one is located over here. And this one is actually 61.85. So I want that one, 61.85. So I'll go back to AutoCAD and I'll go ahead and find that one. So over here, I'd go to F2. And when I go to F2, I'm going to go to 61.85. Go ahead and look for that. 61.85, which is right here. So I can grab this I'll grab that and pull it over here. Didn't get the whole thing. So grab all this, grab all that. Control C, or I can right click and choose copy. They both do the same thing. And then over here, I'm going to put in another text label. So here, and I'll go ahead and do this, and I'll go Control V. Control V drops in the text. And now this one's going to be reversed, so it's going to be a little different. So that's okay. So 61.15, make the D lowercase like that, and then we have that in place. Okay, now when I have this, I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it onto the other. I'm going to move it. So I just move, and I just move this from this location over here and try to find the midpoint, which is right around there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate. I click on this, hit my enter key. The rotate angle is going to be right around there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I should be able to go ahead and touch this and pull it along like that. All right, so I do that. Other than that, you can just eyeball it. But when I click on this, I can hold down the control key and use my arrow keys and just nudge it in position like that. Okay, so that's how we do that. One thing about that I did not do, I did not justify it. So I need to do that. So I justify it like that and close the text editor, and there we go. It's all justified. So 61.85. Yeah, it's looking perfect. Okay, so that's how we go ahead and put in all those labels. I'm not going to do all, I'll do one more. And then I'll let you guys get at it. Okay, so this one is 86.19. So this, what I'm doing right now, it's going to be lather, rinse, and repeat. And you're going to do the same thing each time. So 86.19 feet. So back to here. And I'll go ahead and grab that. So let me go here. I'm going to go to F2, open this up. And it's going to be 86.19 feet, which is going to be right here. Pull that over like that. Control C, and go ahead and do there, and put in another text box, and we'll drop it in there. Control V, looks good. And then this one, the 86.19 feet is going to be underneath. So I'm going to, again, Control X, put it underneath. Get rid of the less than symbol right here. And then I go ahead and make D lowercase. And all this is just kind of simple formatting type stuff. And then I'm going to drag it by using the move command. Move here, move this over. And I'm going to go here. And I did the same thing. I didn't go ahead and I didn't justify it. So that's okay. I double click on it. And I go and change the justification like that. Didn't do both of them. So I'll do that again. Select both and justify them. There we go. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that, which I've already got here. So I'm going to use rotate, click like this. All right, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. I'm going to go ahead and touch this here and pull it right down like this. And there it is. That's aligned quite nicely. And then I use my arrow keys. Okay, I'll save it. Okay, so that is how you put in those labels. So it's not a dimensioning thing. You could put up a dimension style, but because I was matching something, this is originally a file that Professor Holly liked me to use, so I went ahead and used that. So therefore, because of that, there's some other things that are, this is another approach right here. So as we do this right here, this is going to be heavily dependent upon you putting this together right there. And as far as getting the actual size of this right here, yeah, it does this right here. And is there a question? Question?
I'm just curious, what's the size of the text?
The size of the text. Okay, that's actually part of the template. So you won't have to figure that out, but let me look it up. It's actually 2 feet.
Okay, just make sure. Thank you.
Yeah, but when I set this drawing up right here, what I did is I gave you a template, and the template actually has a text right here, and that is by default 2 feet because that makes the most sense. Okay, so once I've got those, you guys are going to go ahead and do those, and you'll put those in right there. Now, next thing I want to do is I'm going to make the setbacks. Now, the setbacks are, let me explain what those are. When you're working with any kind of a project like this, you will have setbacks. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, does anybody know what setbacks are for? That's a no? Okay. right? So I see some of you guys have not been through all the classes that Professor Holly has, okay? All right, but a setback, what you have with this is when you're planning on this right here, this would be like when you are working with this right here, there's certain codes that apply. There's certain codes that apply for any municipality. I'm out here in Fairport, and so there's gonna be a set of certain codes that go along with that, meaning they may say something like, okay, you know what? When you put a fence in, you've probably heard this before, but when you put a fence in, you can't put it right on the property line. You have to put it on your property. And I think it has to be inset like 2 feet or something, or maybe 1 foot, depends upon, again, that's the code. So I'm not really sure what that is. Now, here's another thing though. A setback right here would be something like an easement. You would have an easement. Okay, now an easement is when you have utilities. When you have utilities, that's like if you have a underground power line, or if you have an underground water line, or if you have maybe an overhead set of power lines right here. All of those will require a setback. So basically, this is telling you that you can't build in that area. You can't build where the setbacks basically limit you. So what you're seeing right here are some magenta lines here. And the magenta lines are basically giving me, let me go ahead and highlight that. The, okay, over here, right over here, you've got these magenta lines here. These magenta lines represent setbacks. And the setbacks are essentially what you would have to take into consideration when you're putting in a structure. You'll notice that this house is placed away from all of those setbacks that's placed on the area that is available right there. This is a very real thing. This is a very real thing as you go through this. So your setbacks have to go like that. So we want to get the setbacks. So we have a 25-foot setback right here. You have up here a 10-foot setback, and another 10-foot setback, a 15-foot setback, and yeah, then a 7.5-foot setback. So I have these setbacks. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the setbacks right now. So to do this, I'm going to show you that there's a little trick that you can do with this. So back to AutoCAD, and over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my setbacks, and these are actually going to be done by using the offset command. So I've got this here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to change my current layer to C setback, civil setback. Okay, so I have this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to offset. And I'll start with this. And I'll go to offset. Now, one of the things I want to do is when I start the offset command is there is an interesting little thing I can do here. I can change the layer. And I can change the layer so that it's going to use the current layer. So I'm going to change to current right here. And so what that's going to do is when I create this, it's going to make the offset go to the current layer. So let's do this one. I'll go to offset right here. I'm in there right now. And I'm going to go ahead and type in the offset distance, which is 25 feet like this. So it's 25 feet. And then I'm going to go ahead and select this object right here. So I'll click on this and I want it to offset that way. So when I did that, it offset that up there, which is what we want to do. Now the sides need to be offset 10 feet. So at this point, let's see here. I guess I could turn these sidelines into polylines. Yeah, I'll grab these two and I'm going to join those together. I'm going to join those together and I'll join these together because they actually are going to be doing that. It'll just be less editing. So then I'm going to go ahead and use my offset and I'm going to make those 10 feet on each side. So 10 feet, I'm going to click on this, 10 feet like that, and 10 feet like that. Very good. Okay. And then I've got those going on. And then I got this back wall, this back line here, which is 15 feet. So I'm going to start my offset again and make it 15 feet. I could actually stay in the command, but I'm just trying to make this really clear. So I do that. And then I have 7.5-foot setbacks. I'll go ahead and click on this and I'll change the setback to 7.5 feet, 7.5 feet, boom. And it does that, which is what I want. So I got those. Now at that point, those are all the setbacks. And then what I want to do is I'd want to maybe do a little bit of editing. Like for instance, right here, I would want to use my extend command. So I want to extend this over to here. I do that. And this down here, I'm going to leave that alone because this actually extends. So I'm just going to leave that there. And over here, I'm going to leave these in as guides right there. So the rest I'm just going to leave. I just want to connect those two. So now those are our setbacks. So we've got that. So now we have setbacks. So looking over here, what else do we have? Okay, so looking over here, we did our setbacks. Now we actually have these contours, okay? Now a contour right here, what these represent is actually the actual topographical features, okay? And so you guys haven't got to this yet, huh? You guys haven't worked with this and doing surveying yet? None of you have seen this before? Okay, well, all right, that's fine. You'll get there. And when you do, you'll see how this is. When you survey, you're going to be having certain points, and then those points will be used to go ahead and put together a complete, what do I got here? Oh, did I mess these up? I hope I didn't mess these up. Oh, did I? Hope not. Yeah, looks like I did. All right. No, not all of them, just one or two. Okay. That's okay. We'll fix it. Some of these I actually mistyped these. I gotta redo this. I gotta make a note to myself that I gotta fix those. Anyway, what we're gonna do is gonna place these in here. I'm gonna place the elevation markers over on these sides. So we'll have those right here. So you'll notice that right here it says elevation 160.27, which is this right here. And then over here, it's elevation 160.27, which is there. This is elevation 160 feet. And if you go over here, elevation 160 feet. This one is 159.75 feet. And over here, 159.75, 159.5, 159.5, 159.25, 159.25, 159, 100, and that the wheels fell off here. I made a mistake. So this should have been 159. And then this is 158.75, which is what that should be, 158.75. This is 158.5, which right here, I don't have to put it because it's under there. And this is 158.25. So that is what we're going to do. So we're going to make these, going to go and make those contours. So how do we do this? How do we make those contours? Well, what you would do is going back to AutoCAD, you can actually use a spline. There's several different kinds of splines. So we change our layer to See Exist Grade. And I'm going to start with doing this one down at the bottom here. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to use my, now over here under Draw, there's actually a tool here called a Spline Cv, which gives me control vertices. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on that. Now watch how easy this is to work with. So I'm going to start here, click a point here, then go somewhere right around here. I don't want to go out too far. I'm going to click here. Oh, now right there, I snapped to something. I didn't mean to do that. So you want to keep off of these so you don't snap to them. And then go ahead and pull this down like this. And kind of pull this over here. I'm going to go ahead and I want to pick a point here. Now, at this point, I'm going to touch this and pull it down a little bit so I can actually pick a point right on there. So once I've done that, I hit my Enter key and it completes the spline like that. Okay, so there's a little bit going on right there. If your object snaps are getting in the way, you can turn them on and off as you're doing this. Like you start by using an endpoint object snap and then you tell it none or nearest over here. You could do it that way too. So that's the first one right there. So I got that first contour in there. And then the next contour kind of goes something like that. So I'll go ahead and do this again. And I'm going to go and pick a point somewhere. Oh, I'll go ahead and start it right along here. I'll go up a little bit and I'll pick it somewhere right around this location here. I'll click there. And then I'm going to go ahead and make another contour. So I'll go here. And I'm not worried about this being perfect by any means. You can tell that. Then I'm going to go ahead and go down here. And I'm going to kind of dipsy doodle around here a little bit, kind of go up here and then up down here, and then we'll pull it down over into this location right over here. And again, it's kind of finding this right here, so I'll pull it down. I'll touch it here and pull it down. All right, and come on, you. And I'll drop it somewhere right there. And I press my Enter key to end it. So as you do this right here, this is how you make the contours. Now, if you want this to operate a little bit better, in this particular case, this is the only time I tell you to do this, but you can go in here and you can actually turn on your nearest object snap. The nearest object snap will allow you to actually pick on the lines themselves. And for this, it's the only time I'd ever tell you to use the nearest object snap. So we'll go ahead and use this. So I've got that, and then we'll go ahead and use the CV again. And the next one up, I'm going to go ahead and touch it here. I pull it on up, and I'm going to pick a point somewhere right around here. This is going to be number 3. This is pretty close to there, so I'll click there. And then we'll go ahead and go like this. All right, we'll do this. I'll go ahead and drop it there, press our Enter key. And that's another one right there. So now I've got these different contours in here, and you get the idea. And then to put in the notations here, I've actually got these different elevation notations. Now those would go on the elevation notation text. Actually, I'll just put it on the C prop text because that would make the most sense. So I'll do that. And I'll go ahead here and I'll go ahead and put in a notation here. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'll go ahead and place this, which is going to go here. And that one's going to be EL. First, I have to do this. So EL stands for elevation. So EL space 160.27 feet, like that. And I'm going to click outside there. And that's where that is right there. So that's that elevation. And then I do the next one. I do another one right here. And this next one, I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a point here and then over here. And that next one is EL 160 feet. And then at this point, I could copy this and actually place it over on the other side. Okay, so that there's no confusion about where this goes. So that's elevation 160. So you got to make sure that these go next to them so that it doesn't cause confusion. Now this, I'm going to move up a little bit because it's kind of getting in the way of my contour. I'll go ahead and do that. So I've got that going on. And then the next one, I'll go ahead and copy this. And I'll copy this one and put it up here. And this is going to be elevation 159.75 feet. All right. 159.75 feet, like that. All right, and then I'll copy that over to the other side. So I'll copy this here. And so you get the idea as far as that goes. And so the settings I'm giving you right now will work quite well. Now, again, what I did is I turned on my nearest for this exercise. I'm going to eventually want to turn it back off, but for right now, it works really well for doing your contours. So that's how you put your contours in. Those are not that difficult. Okay, so you go ahead and do that. And again, you're going to put all of them in like I have on the sheet right here. You've got a few more there. I'll put one more in here, the EL 159.5. So I'll do that. So I'll go back out to here. I'll do one more of these. So to do this, I go here and do this. Then I'm going to pick a point somewhere. Let's see here, somewhere above here. And I'm going to go here. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and go something like this. And I'm going to pull it down somewhere right around down here, something like this, like that. Oh, and I missed it. I got out of it before I was ready. So I'm going to go here again, here, and then we'll go like this right here, 109.5. And I'll go ahead and drop it there and press your enter key to finish it. And then when you're done, you can actually click on it. If you want to control a little bit, you can grab the vertices like this and kind of like change the spline around a little bit if you want to. And so you have that going on. And then this one is going to be, that's right there. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to make that 159.5. All right. Elevation 159.5. And so as far now, I will say this right now. If you guys are working in an office that has AutoCAD Civil 3D, a lot of this is automated and much more elegant than I'm doing right here. But these are the basics right here. This is the kind of notations you'll run into. And this is the kind of thing you will run into in a civil type plan or surveying plan, which is what you have there. So we just went ahead and did there. There's a few more, but you guys get the idea. It's the rest of it's just going to be lather, rinse, and repeat. Now, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to place the actual, I've got a block here, over here, floor plan 1, okay? And I made this for you. And so over here, this right here, I've got it here. So all I got to do is click on this. Oh, and to open this up, these are your blocks, okay? So if your blocks palette isn't open, you press the I for insert, and insert is this first command right here. So you can just go and click on insert. And then your blocks will come up. Now, you're going to have recent and you got current drawing. You want to go to the current drawing. And this is right here. This is floor plan 1. I'll click on this. I'm going to drag this in. So I'll go ahead and drag this somewhere into here so it fits nicely. So I'm going to do that. And then at that point, I can actually rotate a little bit because I have it set up to rotate it. So I'll go ahead and do this and rotate it. So it's basically facing towards the front like that. And then I just go ahead and nudge it or use my move command. And the one will perform quite nicely. I'm just going to bring it up so it's just inside of all of those all those setbacks. So I've got that right there. Okay, so that's how we have that. Now, you guys probably recognize this. This is actually the floor plan that we had created before. We're just using it here. I'm trying to tie all these things together. Okay, so we have all that. Now, a couple other details, not much really. We're just about there. The driveway, the driveway can go just like this. The driveway is going to be pretty straightforward. See driveway. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a line going from the just from this corner right here. And it's going to go right down here to the corner here, like that. And it's kind of like that pinkish color. I'm going to grab another right from here. In this one, I'm going to go and just kind of eyeball and place it right around here, like that. So that is my driveway right there. And so I've got that. So the driveway is represented like that. So next thing would be, now that I have that, would be the labels. Okay, the labels for these setbacks. I want to put those in. So the labels for the setbacks, also, they're going to go on the C prop text, and you're going to use a leader for those. So I'd go to leader, and I'll go ahead and hopefully this works. I think it will. And I'll go ahead and click here. I'll put, yes, it's working perfectly. Go over here like that. And that's going to be right there. I didn't, okay, I got out of it too soon. So I'll try that again. So the leader, and I'll go ahead and click a point here, like this, and click. And when I click, it then blinks. And I'm going to type in 25-foot setback, like that. And when you do that, it looks great. That's how that actually works. And so you have the 25-foot setback. And again, that is your leader command. Leader, and all this is set up. I went through this painstakingly to make sure it all worked because it kind of crashed and burned for one class, and I didn't want that to happen again. So I went through it pretty thoroughly, and it should be all there. So everything you need is right here. Text is all the same size. Now, next thing I'm going to do, last thing, is your trees. You want to put the trees in. Now, the trees will go on the L plant layer right here, which is planting. And the tree I've got right here. So I'm going to click on the tree right here. I'm going to pull it in, and you're going to notice that the tree doesn't look like mine, but I can fix that. So you drop it in there. And once you drop the tree, click on it. And what you're going to notice, there's a little triangle on it. So if you zoom in, you'll see the little triangle when you click on it, and then you can go ahead and pick the tree you want. And the one I think that we need is type 2 deciduous, I believe. Type 2 deciduous. Yeah, that's it. Type 2 deciduous looks like that right there. And so when you drop that in there, it looks like that. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to populate it like I did. Okay, so that means you'll be taking it and copy it around. So you'll copy it from place to place, and then you'll scale it. So I've just got some trees here. What you're going to do is you're going to place them. And then what you're going to do is you're going to scale some of them to be larger and smaller, just like I have on my plan there. Okay, so we got these different items, and that's what I do. And we go ahead and place these. So go ahead and just do that. Okay, so then what you do is you just scale them. I go to scale and I make this one. And I'm not giving you a size necessarily, so you can go ahead and just use your own discretion as far as that goes. And that is pretty much everything that you need to do. That's how you draw the elements. Then it's just a question of going through here and making that work. And we're just before 7 o'clock there, but that's how we go ahead and make that work. So that is how we go ahead and put this together. So yeah, this one, there's a few little weird things about this, but you guys can do this. Okay, it's not too hard for you, and that's something you can make. Okay, so again, the beauty of this one right here is this is where you're going to learn how to actually put in degrees, minutes, and seconds. And that's a big deal. You're also going to know what that's doing and whether it's right or not when you go through it. So as you go through, and remember, what I did is I actually used the @ symbol. I typed in the feet, and it's decimal feet. And then after that, what I did is I typed in the actual bearing, which is going to be starting with north or some other direction, north or south. And then you go ahead and place those in there, and you put in the degrees, the minutes, and the seconds. That's how you do that. So this is how you go ahead and put this together here. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but once you get the first bit established, a lot of that's going to be pretty straightforward. And just use your other commands that you know about. You're going to use your trim, you're going to use extend maybe in a couple areas, but the setbacks can just stay as they are right here. And again, as we go through this right now, this is what's going to drive it. This is what the final is going to look like right here. And again, as far as the contours, you're just going to eyeball those. You're going to just go ahead and work on that. And so right now, we're right now ready for our break 2. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stop there. And that I think is going to be it for what I have there as far as for the lecture. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.